button. Great. So let's take a look at hooking up the front end to the stuff we did yesterday and see if we can get it hosted and get a login working there. Yeah, we'll just see how that goes. I'm going to go ahead and share screen here. Great. Get everyone in the right place. Chat over here. Maybe I can see it today. Come on. Here we go. Okay. So what do we have here? Down, hide that. Awesome. Cool. Slack away. Alrighty. Clean. Cool. So let's pop open our repos we had. We had the backend. Front. Awesome. Get rid of terminal. Cool. So just to recap, we have a actually I think I checked it in, right? Yeah. So here is our user stories and everything, some of which we actually have done, so I should check those off. And let's actually, they're not done because they're thin slices. Take a look at our backend, and this is where our API is defined. Beautiful, great.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
So while I was working on this yesterday, I realized we never went through the destroy route.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like you also don't need a destroy route on the back end. Is that right?
I mean, for right now we're just logging in. We don't have a log out yet. And we well, since we're using tokens, the log out is going to be handled on the front end because you're never really logged in. Really, you get a token that says you can do certain things. The only time you're like logged in is in the client, really. So there's not really a sense of on the server that you're logged in. So you don't need to you don't need to really do a log out route on the back end, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, and so let's see what that looks like. So we want to let's see, we want to be able to create a new profile that we can log in. So we have our API hooked up to do that. We can create a new user here, post a new user, fix that on the back end there. So let's start up the back end with S. Cool, that works. And let's start looking at what our front end looks like. I'm not going to mess too much with routers and stuff right now, just to focus on what we're doing. So I will do this. So let's so what do we want this to look like? Let's just start simple and build it out as we go. Let's say login, make a login route. So we'll have a do we want a route for that? Yeah. Okay, cool. Should I do a full router or should I just pretend? I'm just gonna do what we have now. I'll just say let's log in. Actually, let me make a login component. This is what I get for not making a wireframe. Cool. So let's see, a login. It's gonna be a login component. Doesn't exist yet. Let's make it. See if I can remember how login, how JavaScript works. Export default function. Yeah. Great. And I'm just going to return something. I'm going to return a div. And that div is just going to say login. I have a, I hate putting gross extra divs here, but just for now, we'll do a username. Put here, oops. Come on, buddy. And password. It's not going to look right. This is not how I would do it, but we're doing it here. Password. And a submit button. And I'm not going to put a, no, am I? Yes, no. Yeah, since we're going to be doing a controlled component, I'm just going to make this a button. Yeah. Cool. So our password is going to be type password. It's going to be a text. And let's see. So I want to have some pieces of state for my login here. So let's say const username, set username. Let's start off empty. Right, and do the same thing for password. Cool. We're going to set our values here. Set our values here. Nope. And we're going to do an odd change for each of them. And that's going to take the value of the target, which is the thing that throws the event, which is our thing here. So I'm just going to say, take the event and set username. Target value. And close off. And I'm going to do the same thing here with set password. Awesome. And then our submit button, here's where we're going to do our fetch. So I'm going to write a function here for our login, handle login. Great. And then it's going to be an on click because it's not a real form. Don't need to do a submit. It'll be on click equals handle login. Handle login. Fantastic. And so here, what are we gonna do? Look at that. So here we are going to log in with our username and password. Let's just console log it for now, just to make sure the form is hooked up right. So and we need to import that. And everyone should be happy now. Let's start this up and see what happens. Yeah, sure, why not? Nope, don't do it over there, do it over here. Cool, there's our login form. And pop up my console. If we do a login stuff here, it should log us in. I should make it a actual form with a submit, so when they hit return, it'll do it, but that's a UX thing. So I've got my username and password in the form. Let's I'm actually gonna do that right now. Sorry about that. Let's just make this a form. Should put labels and everything, but I'm not gonna. Form, and I'll hook up the on submit here. And that means I'm going to need to catch this and do a default. And I need to make this a type submit. Do that on click. And close out the form. Awesome. And so this should do the same thing now. If I can hit return. Great. Cool. So we've got our little login form here, and now we just need to do our fetch. Can't log in unless we register though. So let's do a register as well. I'm going to copy some of this. I have to retype. Okay, so register. Yeah, I'm just gonna put in the once. I'm not gonna do any validation on the password here. And we'll register. And that's gonna be the same thing. I'm not gonna make this a type password so they can see what it is. And I'm gonna drop this in. Make these H2s. Make it pretty cool. And let me throw both of these in here. I'll do I need to do a wrapper div. Hate extra divs. Oops. And put a don't think well that is the wrapper div. So I'm just gonna do this here. Do that, do that. And I'll have my login there. I'll do a register in here. Import it, great. And I'll throw HR in here this round. Cool. Should have both now. Awesome. So cool. So now we can log in and I should clear those out on submit. These are so similar. I feel like I should refactor them, but I'm not going to right now. Cool. So there's our basic form. Let's hook it up. So in our where do we have it? There it is. So post users, we're going to create a new user and we want it to look like this. We're going to pass it the user object with password, username, and name. We need to put a name in there too. So let's do an input for name. Please. Name. And we can see that we probably want to refactor the on change, but I'm not going to do that right now. And we need a state for the name. Fantastic. And we'll clear out the name as well here. There down here somewhere. Close out that input. Great. Cool. Your name. Oops. Log out the name while we're up here. Namely. Cool. Cool. All right. Now let's hit that register route. So our register route is doing a post to users with this information. So let's do that. So we're going to do a fetch. And we're not authenticating, so we don't need to send a header, but we do need to hit that URL. I'm going to set my URL up here. Endpoint. And it's going to change when we post, right? So I'm just going to set it for now. Awesome. So I'm going to fetch to point slash users. Okay. And what are my config look like? Well, I do need to do a method post. And what do I need to send? I need to send that user object that looks like this. And that's going to be in the body. I do need to do the headers, right? Headers is going to be the accepts application JSON. Is that right? Content. Also, JSON. Awesome. And we want to send that body along. And that body needs to be a string. So we're going to JSON stringify this whole thing. And yeah, awesome. There we go. Cool. So stringifying a user, drop that. Get rid of the quotes on that. You don't need to get rid of the quotes around here. This is just to make it more JavaScripty. And yeah, so and since we have username, password, and name, we can do our shortcuts. So it just looks like that. And those are the same as saying like that. Just our JavaScript shortcut lets us say that. Cool. Doing a post with headers with a body. Awesome. Now we need to do a .then on it. So we'll do our JSON dance. And then we have our JSON, and let's just console log it for now. Just to see what we get back. Awesome. That feels okay to me. Username is password is the name is Mark. Let's log. Nope, let's register. Nope, blocked by CORS policy. Because I didn't do -API yesterday. I did API only. Right. So and now we have to make sure our CORS stuff is set up. And how do we do that? We need to add the CORS gem in here, right? And find
it should be in there. You just need to uncomment it, I think.
CORS. Let's see it there. Nope, it's not. Too bad. Let's see, it has to be a specific. I don't think it has to be a specific version. It just needs to be what it is. Wrap CORS. Ooh, that'll be in there. I need to bundle that, and I need to. CORS config file is not even in there. I don't think that's going to be in config. Initializers. There should be CORS there. There's not. Great. Let me grab that. Big initializers. CORS. There we go. Awesome. And let me grab the stuff here. I'm just going to set the accepts to, nope. I'm just going to accept everything for right now. Should just set that to our local host, but I'm not going to. Let's restart. Let's see if that did the trick. There we are. Cool. Mark. Not found. Did I do it in all caps? Yeah, I did it in all caps. Why? Let's try that one more time. Did something. Syntax error in JSON. Uh-oh. So unexpected token less than in JSON. That means I got back HTML with that. And let's see if my backend server says anything about it. Should be. Oh, maybe that's an error that I'm getting back. Let me just try 1, 2, 3, 4. maybe it was a no. Oh, good. Select one as users, insert any user's username, or username is Mook. Yep, cool. That seems like it worked. Didn't return what I wanted though. One more time. I'm not catching anything on the back end or on the front end. If I'm doing that console log, let me try one more time. M1. It is doing it. It has done the transaction. And am I not returning anything in my model? Let's see. Or my controller. App controllers. This was users. I'm creating a new user. I should be getting the user back. Did I do something wrong on the front end? Let me check out my network. Oops. So yeah. Cool. That's all my good stuff there. M2. So there's users. This is what I'm sending. And a response. Oh, yeah, I did get a response. Why didn't it console log it out? Weird. I should be console logging that JSON out. Curious. But network says I'm getting that JSON back. So it is creating it. Why is it not handling? That's so weird. Where's JSON?
Did you need parentheses on the console log?
Yep. No, I either needed to console log out the JSON or just console log. That's what I needed to do. So I could do M2. Did I do M2 yet? And there's my console. Failed to create user, not created. It's already there. Great. There we go. Created user successfully. So that user is created. M3. I don't remember what the password was. So cool. We can register from online. I'm gonna have it just let's have it notify somehow on the front end just by saying what do we got here? Register.js. I'm gonna make a state that says registered user. This is not how I would do it in a real app, but here we are. And then I'll under at the bottom, I guess, say registered user question mark. If there's a registered user, it will do something. Otherwise, nothing. So if the registered user, I'll just say registered and registered user. Yeah, that seems fine. So let's register M4. How are we on? ASDF. Great. Log in. Here. Oh, I need to set registered user after I come back. So I'm getting that. I'm getting that response back with the username. In the response, I want to say here. Take the JSON and I will set registered user with the JSON username. I think it is. Yeah, that makes sense. M6 ASDF. Cool. Now we have registered M6 officially on the website here. So now we should be able to log in M6 ASDF. We haven't hooked that up yet. So let's hook up the login. And actually, I'm not going to hook up. I'm not going to hook up recoil here. I am going to say, I'm just going to throw a little notification in the login route here. Let's put it up at top. Say logged in. State false. Awesome. And up here, I'll just say logged in question mark. If so, otherwise, ib. Great. And here I will say put that div on the outside. Fine. Logged in as. Oh, I should get the username that's logged in too. And this is where we would have passing it up and down, but I'm not going to do that right now. Or no, I do have to do that, right? Let's raise up state. Up here, I'm gonna parse out current user. Logged in as current user. And here is where we're going to use, oh, and I'm going to have to set logged in up top too. Yeah, okay. Great. I made it more complicated for myself. No, this is logged in. That's right. Okay, we're good. Oh, I don't need to do state because that's registering. Never mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put current user here. Use state that is undefined. If logged in as current user, probably could just use current user as that, but I think I'm going to keep them separate for right now. I could just do a check on current user to see that too. I'm just going to do a check on current user. Why not? Current user question mark. Yeah, make it easy. So when we log in, we wanted to hit the login route. So I'm going to log in to our same endpoint. There should be somewhere common. Move up top. And I'll do a fetch again. And this is going to be our login. Login. Cool. I'm going to copy these headers here. Let's type them again. And in the body, we want to send, let's take a look at our API documentation here. To log in, we want to send a user object with username and password. Fantastic. So here's our body. Our user. Oh, and we want to do stringify. And here's our user, and that user is going to have a username and password. And we're just doing the shortcut there. And what I missed there on that. Cool. We need a dot then at the end of our fetch. And I'm just going to console log out the results the right way this time, hopefully. All right, registered M5 with ASDF. Let's see if that does the trick. No user logged in. ASDF. Unauthorized. Invalid username or password. I disagree. M5 ASDF. Invalid username or password. All right. I'm going to register again and then log in again just to be sure. I will register with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Password is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Name is going to be Mark. Log in. Oh, I should say register. Registered. MMMM. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to change that right now to register so it's not confusing. This is what you get when you copy paste. Awesome. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, there we go. Cool. So now I know that I've logged in as this user, and so I'm not handling any of the response yet, but here are the things I do want to handle. I want to handle what my username is. Great. I'm going to log in. I'm going to say logged in user is, well, should I say the username or name? I'm going to say the username. But I also need to save this token somewhere, and this is just JWT. So this is what my response object is on a successful login. I'm going to do this. So when it comes back in the login, instead of just console logging, I'll take my JSON. And first up, we're going to set the current user to JSON username. So that will tell me who I'm logged in as. And now I want to set that token. Yeah, so you could just set it in state if you wanted to. And that would work fine as long as you don't leave the page. I'm going to set it in local storage. So when we come back, it'll save us as logged in. So I want to save this in local storage. How does local storage work? So local storage is basically an object that is attached to your browser, to that particular site. Show on MDN. And it gives you key value pairs. So basically, show you the API here. Yeah. So basically, we have a local storage object. We can just say just local storage and do set. I'll go back to just regular local storage here. So we can just refer to it as local storage in our code, and we can say set item key value, and that will set whatever key we say to whatever value, and that'll persist until it gets cleared, or I think you can set an expiration. And then to do the same thing, we can just get that in with the key, and we can remove it or clear local storage. So all we want to do here is a local storage set item, and our key is going to be, let's say it's token, and that's just going to be our JSON JWT. Awesome. So now if we log in again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're logged in here, and we've set local storage. How can we see that? We can look at it here. Local storage, get item, token. Look at that. Only you can see this. Other people can't. I mean, unless someone gets their hand on your browser, they can't see your local storage. So this is relatively secure as far as it goes. It's as secure as a cookie or anything else. So now we can do a fetch and get our special stuff here.
I had a question real fast for you.
Go for it.
In that the walkthrough that you sent us yesterday, he sets it just by saying local storage dot token equals the like JSON.jwt. Is there any like pro or con to doing it as opposed to using like the set item version?
Yeah, you should always use set item. So local storage is just a JavaScript object, just like everything else. So you can set whatever you want on it, right? And get it back. But you could do that with like window dot something and set it to something. I don't think setting it this way will persist. So if I do a reload,
it persisted when I read.
It does, yeah, look at that.
So
yeah, so it's the same object. It persists through that. It feels bad doing that. I don't, because if you do, because then you can't use the rest of the API. You can't say like local storage clear.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no, it does that. Well, dang. I don't know. Yeah, you can do it that way. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay.
that behavior is strictly defined. Yeah, interesting. I bet, I bet that is how get item and set item work under the hood, just setting properties on there, although that would surprise me. I don't know for sure. That's interesting. I feel like that's how we used to do it back in the old days. Interesting. That's worth looking into. If it works, it works. Great. I wouldn't trust it. I don't
You
think.
recommend doing the set item manner like you guys
Yeah, because that's the defined API according to the specification. It might work in Chrome, it might not work in Safari or Edge or whatever. So I would stick to the specification. But if it works, that is interesting. I wonder what the mechanism is, or if it's backwards compatibility or whatever.
Cool. Thank you.
But yeah, good to know. If you see that somewhere else, that will work. Awesome. Great question. Do we have any other questions? I'm kind of running through this. Any other questions about doing the register and login? We're just hitting those routes right now.
I mean, the only question I have, which I'm sure you're going to go over, is just like, now we've got the token saved in local storage. Like, how do we use it?
That's coming up next. Awesome. So let's do that right now, then. So I'm going to do we'll do another component that's just it's going to call it data. Worst name possible. Export. Function data. Nope. Data. Divs. So many divs. I'm so ashamed. Our data, and we're gonna say it's data. Never do this for real. Const data, set data, state, and it's going to be empty. Awesome. So let's throw that in our app. Right down here, we'll say data. Get to autofill. Perfect. Cool. So we should have empty data down here now. Great. So what I would like to do, let's set up a button in here to do a fetch for us, I guess. A div, gross. Yeah, let's do this here. Button on click. Fetch data. Fetch data. And let's make a function here called fetch data. And all it's going to do, we're going to do a fetch, and we're going to set data to, whatever we get back. So we'll do our fetch data, and that'll set that value there. So as it sits now, we have a /me route for our 3000. So we do a 3000 /me. It should not give us anything unless we are logged in. Please log in. Great. So let's just hit that route, and we'll display whatever comes back there. So let's do a fetch, and I'm not going to do the, yeah, well, why not? Get our endpoint. That should be in a common place. Don't type stuff like that more than once. Don't be like me. So we're going to fetch to our endpoint, and we're going to fetch to me. This is a get, so we don't need to do anything yet about it, but we will do our JSON dance. Console log. Oh, I'm not going to console log because we have a way to display it anyway. We're going to do our JSON. Ooh. And we're going to set data to the full response. We'll just set whatever it is. I could just say set data here. Cool. And so this should give us an error. Unauthorized. Ooh, we should do a try catch in there probably. Objects are not valid as React child. Let's JSON stringify whatever we get back. How about that? Let's do this the right way. Set data, JSON stringify, JSON. That feels better. And is that going to give us another error? Great. Please log in. So we got our unauthorized back. We got our data that says please log in. So we know that we are not authorized yet. So when we log in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blammo. Now we have our token in. Oh, look at that. It's telling us right there. Maybe that is legit. I don't know. So we have our token in local storage because we logged in. Now we want to send our token along with the request. And so we can kind of reverse engineer what we want if we just want to look at our server, right? Because in our application controller, we are getting a header called authorization. We are splitting the token out of that header. And we know from looking at the JWT docs yesterday, it's expecting authorization : bearer space token. So that's what we're going to send along in our request. So we're doing a get here. If we're going to send headers along, we need to send headers along. So don't need to specify the method. It's a get, but I'm going to say headers. And I'm just going to use authorization because that is what we're looking for here. And that header is going to be bearer. Nope, no space. Bearer. And then I'm just going to grab local storage. I'm going to do get item token, because that's what we are setting in our thing. So that should send that along with it. Parsing error, all good. Cool. Let's watch what happens on the server side when we send that request. So let's just make sure we're logged in. Great. And I'll do that fetch data. Hey, look at that. We got our data back because we are logged in. And so on our server, we can see that we're getting all our stuff there. It is authorizing, and yeah, we did it. Great. So all we need to do is when we fetch, we need to send that header along. You're probably going to be making more than one request like this. So I would probably encapsulate this into a function that you're going to use in multiple places, like fetch authorized URL. And we would do, we'll do all this stuff here. Fetching our URL. We're going to send those headers there. And then we would do our stuff, and let's return our promise here. And then when we fetch data, we can say fetch authorized, and we're going to fetch to our endpoint, endpoint /me. And since our fetch authorized is returning the promise from fetch, we can actually say .then and then do our stuff here. Because our function that we wrote here is returning that fetch promise. And so we can .then off of our function that we wrote. And now we don't have to do all this ugly stuff Every time we want to do a fetch, we just do our fetch authorized endpoint and then say what we want to do with it. Am I lying? Let's see. Does that work? Fetch data. And you see, I just reloaded without logging in. Our local storage stays, right? I can close this out and reopen it. Fetch data. Our data comes back because we're still logged in. And that's just because we have a token in local storage. I'm going to just make a quick log out button just to show how that works. And I'll just throw it here while we're here. Log in. Yeah, let's throw it in here. Button out. On click equals and I'll log out. Or I can do it inline because it's so easy. All the function is going to do is say local storage. I could clear it. I'm just going to set the item, or I can remove it, I guess. Remove item token. And so all that's doing is getting rid of the token that we set, so we can't use it anymore. Which means that if we hit log out here, we have no longer used it, no user logged in. And if we do a fetch data, it should come back with our please log in. We can log back in. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, log in, fetch data, great. Log out, fetch data, it's all gone. Log out. Oh, I need to reset that on the log out. Cool. So that is the full register, login, do a fetch cycle there. Once you get the routes written, it's relatively straightforward. Just need the setting the authorization header is the thing that you really need to worry about there. Other than that, yeah, it's all good. What questions do we have here?
I'm just a little confused about why you encapsulated that function into like the fetch authorized function or into into the fetch authorized. Yeah, I just don't know why you would need to use that over and over.
Yeah, because we're probably going to be making lots of we're probably going to be hitting a bunch of endpoints over the course of the usage of the app. We're going to grab a list of stuff. We're going to post stuff.
Oh, I see. So
yeah.
you're going to need this to make any of your fetch requests.
Yeah. And I would spice this up by letting you specify the method. You want to be able to pass in a body and all that stuff. And
you just pass in multiple arguments into okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and the Q part is sending that authorization header and returning the promise, so you can .then off of it. You could also, you could pass in a callback function and have it .then the callback function in here, whichever way feels good to you. But yeah, I do that pretty much every time I do something like this. I also usually write a custom hook for it, so I'll put this in a let's just do it now. Can I do it from scratch? Can I do it off the top of my head? Let's see. So I'll make I usually write a bunch of custom hooks. I usually put them in the folder called lib library, and I'll say this is use we'll call it use fetch authorized. Use fetch auth JS. So you can make a function called use whatever, and we're going to export default it. Function use fetch auth. And so this is a hook. Now you can return whatever you like off of this. I'm going to return a function out of it. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Return, let's see if there's copy. So I'm going to return this function here. I don't even need to name it really. So I'm just going to return a function. Why is it? Yeah, I'm not going to. It's going to return a function that's going to return the fetch promise, just like this whole thing here. And so now, instead of writing this wherever I'm going to use it, I can say const fetch authorized equals, I'm going to import it. So it's importing use fetch auth from that file. And I'm just calling that function. And now that's giving me an authorized fetch that I can use. Am I lying? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Log in. Totally works. Just wrote a custom hook. So literally all a custom hook is a function called use whatever you want, that returns something, usually a function, but might be, you know, an array of stuff. Use state returns an array of functions. It returns your setter and getter. So, and, you know, again, I would probably fancy this up by doing something like, you know, use fetch auth with my, oh, let's do this. Yeah. Say fetch data, right? I'm going to pass this in here. And now in my hook, I'm going to say, hey, in use fetch auth, I'm going to take our endpoint. And this is just going to be a function that fetches that endpoint. All this function does is fetch that one endpoint. So now I can say in my fetch data, I can just say, or actually, you know, the handle fetch data. So in here, I can just say fetch data and then JSON off of it. And so I can use this to, you know, create, you know, fetch users, fetch likes, whatever. And then I do a use fetch auth with different endpoints for it, you know, endpoint slash whatever. So you could, just like we're doing use state, you can create a custom hook to say like, oh, I'm going to use this function as my fetch for that endpoint. And then, you know, maybe pass it methods and whatever. But you can, you know, create, these are generator or factory functions.
So if you wanted to like give it different methods or whatever, you just pass the, you would put those in the use or the
post, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can, and then you don't have to, if you're using that more than once, then you know that fetch data, you know, this is you know, const, you know, create user equals use fetch auth, and then we do our endpoint. We would say, you know, post, we would say probably just that, and then we'd pass in, then the function we would return from here would take a body as an argument, and then it would pass that body in, or it would take a username and password and construct the body inside the function we pass back. Lots of different things you could do with it. Yeah, custom hooks are fucking fire. They're so great. I use them probably a little bit too much in my own stuff. But this makes it nice and clean, because, and this, it not only do it just because it's sick, but also because it makes your code cleaner and easier to read. So once you set up this, you don't need to worry about authorization anymore. Like, you handle your authorization once in your custom hook, and then out here, you just set up your methods to do fetches to different points. You never have to worry about the authorization. And in fact, if you decide later on, hey, I'm going to switch to a different authorization method, I'm going to do a different kind of token author, I'm going to do still can't remember the name of the way to do Twitter or whatever. I'm going to go back to session-based authorization. This code doesn't care at all. You fix that authorization in one place in your custom hook, and the rest of your code just like, I'm just doing my authorized fetch. I don't care how you do it. So yeah, custom hooks are an amazing way to make this more readable, because I don't care if it's authorized or not. I just know I'm fetching data. Done. And that just makes it more readable for you, which I'm always a fan of. But yeah, custom hooks are so nice and dead easy to set up. The only sort of mental gymnastics you have to do is like, it's a function that returns a function that might return a function. So like making sure you're working on the right mental level there is good, but otherwise they're dead simple to set up. And I will set up like config hooks. So I'll do like, instead of having an endpoint here, I'll set up a custom hook that's like a config hook, and I'll say, you know, consts config equals use config. I don't need to spell it right, it doesn't exist. Use config, and then later on I can just say like, oh, fetch config endpoint or whatever, and then I just write a custom hook that like literally just returns an object with all my config stuff in it, and I never have to worry about it again. It's all in one place. So yeah, custom hooks are wild. I love them. I'll use them any chance I get. It's just a nice way of encapsulating functionality. And then once you write if you write a authorization hook like this, and you're like, all my apps are going to use JWT authorization, you just make this a npm module. You can submit it to npm and say like, hey, this is Mark's authorization. And then when you do a new project, you just do npm install Mark's authorization, and you can use the custom hook that you wrote, just like UState or whatever. So many great things you can do with. I can't say enough good about custom hooks. So much fun. Yeah. Anyway, not the focus of what we're doing here. Just get excited about it, which is great. Do stuff you're excited about. Cool. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that was super helpful, actually. That's super cool stuff.
Yeah, and then, you know, looking back at this, so much nicer to look at. I don't do that. Cool. So that is that. Let me check this stuff in, because this is some good stuff.
I have a little question, Mark.
Yeah.
Just with like persisting our user login across like all of our views. Like if you switch back to your homepage, wherever you want your logged in user to persist, that's just happening because the local storage is holding your user, or is this something where we would need to like set state for a user and like, yeah.
Great question. So there's that's really up to you, I think. So I tend to, and not for probably a good reason, probably just out of habit, I tend to just store like the username or the user ID in local storage, and then when I need to access, like if there's like a full user profile or something, I will, you know, do a fetch for that and put it in state, whether it's in Redux or Recoil or whatever. But there's no reason you can't just drop that in local storage too. The main thing to keep in mind there, so something like user information is probably a relatively good candidate for that, because if you change that, you're going to be changing it on the server side. You're gonna, like be doing a patch and then probably coming back and updating it in local storage. The problem is with React in particular, when you update stuff in local storage, React doesn't know about local storage, so it's not going to update any views that you have. Whereas if you keep it in state or in Recoil or something, when you update it, it's going to update your views. It's going to update all those models that use that. So there's no reason you can't keep a bunch of data in local storage and reference it everywhere. But you're not leveraging the power of React state or Recoil or Redux or whatever. But yeah, that's a design call, I think. That the not updating when state changes if you're using local storage is the one thing to watch out for. I've definitely burned myself with that. Did that answer what you're asking for?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just thinking about my project and like user ability and things. Like I guess like once you log them in and you have like a like your token stored in your local storage, then you can like, if you wanted to, you could like set state to like, if something, I don't know. I think I can figure it out from there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. If you need more clarification, let me know. We'll talk about
Okay.
it. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I usually go so far as the store. Yeah, I store stuff you shouldn't store in in recoil or redux, probably. Like sockets and stuff. Don't do what I do sometimes. Awesome. So I feel like this is a relatively complete front end hookup. Registering, logging in, logging out, and sending tokens to access authorized data. If you need to handle like roles, like an admin role or an editor role, that's generally going to be handled on the back end. So that really doesn't enter into the authentication stuff as much. It's more authorization. And that's going to be the same no matter what method you use. Always assume that the client is in hostile hands, so never trust anything coming from the client. Always use tokens to verify stuff on the back end. Yeah, and that's that. Any overall questions?
I've got some questions about like Ruby environment variables, but I'd like to see how things work out once we get deployed first, and then I'll see if I still have those questions.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So deploying. So let's talk about what we would need to deploy this. Doing deploy on the front end is pretty easy. Use GitHub Pages. There's a GH Pages module, npm module you can throw in here. Makes it relatively easy to deploy that. I have there's like 3 or 4 steps you need to do. I always need to look it up every time because I only do it once per project.
What was it called?
It's called GH-Pages.
Oh, like GitHub Pages. Okay.
Yeah. So host React app on GitHub Pages, GH Pages. And I think I should have, yeah, there we go. So this, yeah, perfect. So if you go to github.com/gitname/react GH Pages, or do that search and take the second result usually. This is going to walk you through this. Let's follow through. It's really easy to do. We have our repo. It's in there. We have our React app created. So there's a few setup things we need to do. We need to set up a homepage property, and that's going to be what the name of the thing is going to be on the front end. So it's FFV front end. When we host it, it's going to be markmajor.github.io/FFV backend, I believe. So I would need to set a homepage variable in my front end here in my package JSON. Let's do that now. It's going to be HTTPS, I believe. /FFV front end, comma. Oh yeah, there's that. Cool. So then we're going to update our deployment scripts. So it's going to do a pre-deploy, which is going to, anytime you do a deploy, it's going to run the build, which is going to use, so this only works if you use create React app. If you create it with something else, you may not have the same build capabilities here. But it should be built in when you run a build. It's going to create a dist directory. So it's going to have that's basically what happens when you host stuff anywhere. Like on, I mean, that's basically what happens when you post it on Heroku. It'll do that, run a build, and then serve it out of the dist directory. So we want to do a pre-deploy. That's going to do a build. So just do it here. npm run, is it run build or just, yeah. And then we need to do a or sorry, a deploy, which is going to run GH pages. So that's going to do GH pages. D, is it? Yeah, build. So basically what this says is when we do npm run deploy, it's going to run our pre-deploy, which is going to make a build of our React site. And then it's going to run GH pages, which does all the stuff that you need to do to host it there.
Do we need to install GH pages?
You do, yeah. I probably skip. I don't have it. Yeah, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna do a capital D on it, or -- save dev, and that's gonna add it to our dependencies, our dev dependencies. Where dev dependencies, GH pages. Great. And then yeah, we have our remote set up, and now we can run deploy. Awesome. So and npm run deploy, and so that's going to do the build, and we'll see over here there's going to be a build directory show up. There it is. It's grayed out because it's ignored by git ignore, because we don't want to commit that normally. GH pages is going to finish up this build, and then it's going to publish it. Great. So now if we look at our app here on the front end, we can go to settings, we can go to pages here. It's broken out separate now. And we can see it's being deployed from a branch. It actually added a GH pages branch for us. And it's just going to be serving off of that. Branch there. Where is it? It should say work from a branch. Yep. Doing that. Built from GH pages. Great. It's doing that. And so we should, in theory, be able to go to site not found. Okay. Okay. Do we need to say? Nope. GH pages. There we go. FFB front end. There we go. Cool. And so now, hey, look at that. It's live on the internet. Any one of you can go in and hit that. It's that easy to deploy a React application. If your app is fully React, or if it's just hitting a public API, you are done. You are deployed. So yeah, this bookmark this, or make sure it's a purple search for you. You're done with the deploy. You're done with the deploy. So there's a few things we need to think about here. One, hey, our endpoint is pointing at localhost. That's not going to work for a deployed version. So we basically need to have a way for it to see whether it is running in development or running in production. And we can do that with our node and variable. We'll get it in a second. So we're going to need to also host the backend somewhere, because our remote one can't hit our, or maybe it might be able to hit our local one. No one else but me would be able to hit it anyway. Should bomb out. Yeah. Yeah, so it can't hit local one. It's going to show us an error over here. Remote sites can't hit your local stuff for good reason. So we would need to host the back end here. So what we would do is go to our let's talk about this a little bit. So we have our backend here. It is a Ruby application. We need an application host to host it on. Right now, that's Heroku. Come end of September or November, whenever it is, Heroku is not going to be a free option anymore. So we will have to figure out something different. For now, this is an okay way to do it. Oh, come on, man. I already did this, didn't I? Sure. Great. Heroku is very secure. Heroku is very secure too. Cool. That. Awesome. Password, verification code. You didn't generate a code, man. What are we doing here? Camera, QR code, and verification code passwords. Nope, that's not doing it. We can hook up something else. Oh, because it's my Flatiron account. That's right. Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to do this part right now because I don't have an authenticator hooked up. Right. I'm going to talk through it though, and maybe hook up a demo. No, I'll hook up an actual demo in a little bit. So basically what we need to do is we have a node env variable. We can see how that works in, if we want to look that up, node env. And so it's going to be node process node env. Nope. Node process env. And so that's going to be, is it just env? I thought it was node env. Forget it. It's node env in your, oh yeah, and inside node, it's node process env. In your outside here, it is going to be, it's in there somewhere. It's going to be production or development or nothing maybe. Let me just throw this in one of the pages here. Let me see it. I'll throw it down here. HR. Nude. Nope, that's not going to do it on the back end. We need it on the back end. Sorry. When this is deployed, oh yeah, because we need to do it on the front end too. Right. How do we do it in React? I forget. There's a way to do it. I definitely do this all the time. I can't remember how to do it anymore. Get node environment and React. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Process end. That's what it is. Awesome. So now we should be able to see this on our local here. Oop, maybe if we start up the server, it'll work better. Oh, it's running on 3000 because I stopped the other server. Maybe. Is it not like that? Objects are not. Shouldn't be an object, but no, it is. Node env. I knew it was node env. Son of a. There we go. Look at that. Parentheses. Awesome. Cool. So here we can see node env is development. And let's do another build. That's super fun. Just going on there. npm run deploy. So this is going to deploy this code. It's just going to build it, deploy it. GH pages build. Boom, published. And so let's see, do we have it over here? Give it a second to reload. Probably this building. Site is live. I don't believe you. Force reload.
This last deployed 7 minutes ago there. Might not have caught up.
Yeah. Do. So when we get there, it will say production was it 7 minutes ago. Let's try it again. I wonder if something got gummed up. It says it's building there. I'm gonna give it a little manual bump.
It just did it.
I just did it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Impatient. Cool. So here we are, node N for production. And that is over here. And here's our localhost one, still development. So we can now use that to say what our, and this is where config comes in real handy. We can say our endpoint is going to be process equals production question mark. And if it is, we'll give it our HTTP wherever Heroku.com. Otherwise, it's going to be on our local host. And I would put that in a config somewhere, in a custom hook, maybe. Definitely in a custom hook for me, but you can do it however you like. You might put it in your top level app and just pass it down, however you like, put it in recoil. So basically, you're going to be checking your node end, see if it's production or you might have testing or staging or whatever. I generally test for production and put the actual one there and fall back to localhost instead of the other way around. And so then when you do your fetch, it should work that way with the right URL. And that's really the only change you need to make for production on your front end. On your back end, it's just a straight Heroku deploy. Once you get your 2FA all sorted out, you'll just, it's basically just create a new project in Heroku, hook up your GitHub repo, and then set it to update whenever you push to that repo or a branch on that repo. And it should go automatically when you get your URL for that deploy, put it there. Rails is a slightly easier deploy than some other things because it does a lot of the database setup stuff yourself. You will have to do like a Heroku run, Rails db create db migrate db seed, something like that, and that will, if you're in a project that's hooked up to Heroku, that will do all your creation, migration, seed stuff, or you can just do the seed and migrate or whatever you like. That should do it. I'm not going to bore you with struggling through setting up the authentication stuff. Yeah, maybe we'll do a little separate thing on that in a little bit. I've had you here for too long already, probably. Yeah, and then you just put that URL there and you're all good. Yeah, then I know Victoria had questions. Did y'all have specific questions about problems you've come up against hosting on Heroku or wherever else you want to talk through?
I mean, I've had a bunch of problems with hosting on Heroku, but I think some of them were self-inflicted. So I guess when I try to do it this time, I'll let you know. But
Okay.
I think I'm just going to follow along. Like when I built my first like Ruby application earlier this week and tried to host it, it was complaining about my Ruby version, but I've since updated that. I have not tried to host again since then, so I'll give it a go this afternoon.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have to do the same. What am I working on here? Yeah, I'm on 272, so I'll try it with this and see. It'll probably give me the same complaints, and I'll work through it. Yeah, other other hosting stuff questions?
I just had a question about environment variables in Ruby and how they work with hosting,
Mhm.
because I have my secret key for the token authentication in I downloaded the Figaro gem, I believe,
Mhm.
and it set up what the hell is it called? Application.yml file where I store the secret key, and then that's like get ignored. So when I go to Heroku, is that still going to work? Am I going to have to change something there?
Yeah, so there should be a config tab in your Heroku project that lets you set environment variables. It's usually hidden at first. You have to do it, and then you can just give key value pairs that'll be accessible from an environment in there.
Okay, that's super useful. Thank you.
Other questions? Cool. I think we'll leave it here for now. Play with the deploy stuff, see what troubles you will definitely run into, and hit me up with questions, and I'll talk you through stuff. Otherwise, yeah, all this stuff should get you pretty much where you need to be to do a full-on authorized thing with tokens hosted and all that. So yeah, give it a shot, play with it, struggle with it, hit me up on the channel with questions, and we'll work it all out. Last call.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
and this will be recorded clearly and posted in the usual places. So yeah, awesome. I'll see you all in a little bit. Thanks for hanging
Thanks,
out.
Mark. See ya.